Hey there guys, in today's video I am going to be showing you how to build this really simple PVC tabletop stand. Now the difference between this stand and some of the others that we've built before, the eye bolts and everything else on it give you the opportunity to hang toys. So this stand is going to be designed to keep your bird entertained a little bit more. So if that's something you guys are interested in seeing, you want to make sure to stick around because that's going to be coming up right after this. Guys, this is Jack over at Hi Redbird, where I am tirelessly working to find new ways to make the keeping of exotic animals and pets more exciting, more affordable, and ultimately more enjoyable. In today's video, I wanted to walk you guys through how I built this DIY PVC Parrot activity stand. Now, I love building tabletop stands. They are incredible. They have so many uses. You can use them to train your birds, do basic training sessions. You can use them to scale train your birds. Getting weights on your birds is going to be one of the most important ways to ensure they are healthy. Tabletop stands are great, but at the end of the day, they can sometimes be a little bit boring. And sometimes your bird may decide, no, I'd rather go explore. They may climb down, they may fly off. So if you give your bird the opportunity to interact with different forms of enrichment, different toys, they might be a little more interested in staying put on the stand. And the good thing about this stand is it has this toy hanger built onto it, all in a easy to move, very lightweight stand that has a really good base, so it is nice and sturdy for if your bird is playing on it. Now, this stand is going to be a little different than some of the other tutorials I've done for you guys. This one, I'm going to give you the exact measurements that you need to build this exact stand. The good news is this stand is designed to take advantage of a 5-foot length of PVC. So if you utilize the cuts that I offer you guys, that is all you will need. Now, this stand will work great for cockatiels, conures, lovebirds, maybe some small African grays, small Amazons. When you're getting to things like cockatoos and macaws, this is going to be a little bit small for them. So you can still utilize the design. You're just going to need to change the size of the fittings, the size of the pipe, the length of the pipe to make it appropriate for your bird. But this is designed, again, with small to medium-sized birds in mind. Obviously, I put these tutorials together based on what you guys have asked me for, what you guys have commented. So if you guys have a particular species of bird that you would like me to see me do things for, make sure you let me know in the comment section down below. That's how I will know what size you guys would most benefit from seeing toys and different enrichment scaled to. So with that being said, let's jump into how I'm going to build this stand. So first things first, we need to go over the materials we're going to need to build this PVC stand. And as you can imagine, PVC is going to be important. I'm going to be using 1/2-inch Schedule 40 PVC pipe. Now, I do want to cut this down to size. So to cut it down to size, I'm going to need a few things. I'm going to need the ability to measure it. I'm going to need the ability to cut it. And I'm going to need the ability to mark it. That'll make cutting this down to size very, very easy. Now, you can utilize whatever tools work best for you. Here you can see that I'm actually using a clear quilting ruler. What I really like about using that is after I cut the pieces of PVC pipe, I can hold them up and I can see them against the measurement so I can know that they are the size they are supposed to be. I love my ratcheting PVC cutters because, as you can see, they slowly do that work, which means I'm not having to put all of that force into cutting through that PVC at once. But of course you could use something like a hacksaw. I also like a dry erase marker because if I go over with soap and water at the very end, that'll come off. So it's very, very easy to do. Now, once I have all of the ability to cut my PVC pipe, I am going to need certain things in place. I am going to need a drill and a drill bit. And we're going to go over exactly what type of drill bit you need in a second. You just want to make sure that it'll cut through that PVC pipe. Now, since we are using 1/2-inch PVC pipe, you want to make sure that all of your fittings are 1/2-inch slip fittings. That means they're not threaded on the inside and they are made to work with 1/2-inch PVC pipe. You're going to need 6 90-degree or elbow fittings. You are also going to need 3 of the T fittings. Again, all of these need to be 1/2-inch fittings and they all need to be slip fittings. They're also sometimes called solvent fittings. Now we are going to need 7-inch pieces of PVC pipe. We are going to need 6 of those. You want to go ahead and just pre-cut everything as you get started. You're also going to need 4 4-inch pieces of PVC pipe. And then that should leave you a 2-inch scrap that we are going to use at the end as well. You are going to need 1 slip cap fitting. We are going to need a stainless steel eye bolt. The one that I'm using here is 2 inches long. You don't want to go terribly long with this. 2 inches is about where I would want to go. You're also going to need a stainless steel nylon threaded locking nut. It will be sold separately. You want to make sure that it matches the eye bolt. Now, the drill bit, you want to make sure that the drill bit is larger than the shaft of the eye bolt, but smaller than the locking nut. That way, you will not run into problems as we move on. You're also going to need a set of needle nose pliers. That's my preferred method for holding that nut in place. You are going to need the vet wrap that we are going to use to add texture to the perch, and a pair of scissors. Now, the first thing we are going to do is actually the trickiest part, and that is building our toy hanger. I actually forgot to hit record when I did this the first time. It is that tricky. Just kidding. It's actually pretty simple. What you want to do is take your end cap. You want to find the way that you can most securely drill through that. Now, that might involve drilling from the inside, from the outside. Figure out what works best for you. You guys can see I'm using that scrap piece of lumber to protect my table as well. Don't drill into your dining room table. You will get yelled at by people you live with if you do that. But once you have that hole drilled through that PVC end cap, we're going to secure our eye bolt with the eye on the outside of that fitting. On the inside of that fitting, we're going to secure that nylon threaded locking nut, and I will warn you guys right now, trying to get that to sit right for that first turn or two is incredibly difficult. You'll begin questioning, why can I not do this when I have no doubt that my Parrot, given the same opportunity, would have no problem. But eventually you will get it. Now I'm going to go ahead and use a pair of needle nose pliers to hold that in place while I then twist the eye bolt. I recommend needle nose pliers here because I think every bird owner will have them. Of course, if you have a socket, that can work. Sometimes you will just run into sockets that are still too wide to fit inside that PVC fitting, which is why I usually recommend just using the needle nose pliers. You don't need it completely tightened. You just want to make sure that it has a good grip in that nylon section. Now we're just going to jump right into putting together our PVC activity stand. The first thing we're going to want to do is build our base. So we are going to start with 2 of the PVC T fittings, and we are going to attach the 4-inch PVC pipe on either side. You want to make sure that you are doing this in the configuration you're seeing right now. You're going to need those openings later on. Now, to each end of these sections we've created, we are going to attach an elbow fitting. And we want to make sure that after we attach our elbow fittings, those T fittings are facing up. That's where we're going to install the risers for our stand. So you can go ahead and attach your elbow fittings. You want to try to get it as close as possible. You may not get it perfect, and that's all right. We're going to be able to fix that in just a minute, but definitely get it as close as you can. Now, once we've done that, we're going to take two 7-inch sections of PVC pipe, attach them into one side, get that configuration set, and then pull that other piece into it. I promise you guys this is a lot easier to do if you are not trying to video record it so that everyone can see it as well. Now, you want to make sure that you have it nice and square. Check every side to make sure you have pushed it in so that those fittings are flush. And we're going to go ahead, set it down. We want to make sure that it's nice and square and stable. You can push down on the corners if you need to. Now, you may notice one of your T-fittings is a little bit wonky. We're going to put a 7-inch section of PVC pipe in each of those fittings. And if you notice one of your sections is a little off, use that pipe as a lever to adjust it, to shift it into place. It's going to be really easy to do when you have that leverage of that pipe. At this point, we can go ahead, take the base section. We're going to go ahead and move that over to the side so we can build the perch that will then have the activity hanger hanging off of it. So I'm going to take one of the 7-inch pieces of PVC pipe. I'm going to add a T-fitting on one side with an opening up and down, add an elbow fitting on the other side with the opening going down. I am going to slide that into position. If it doesn't slide easily, as long as all of your PVC is the same length, that means that you haven't fully pushed in one of those pieces of pipe into its fittings. So just make sure it all comes together neatly. Once you are done with that part, we're going to add the last 7-inch section of PVC pipe. We're going to add an elbow to the top of that. Now, I don't want it to be directly in line with the perch. I do want it to be turned out a little bit to give my bird a little bit more room. If I turned it all the way over to one side away from the perch, the weight of a toy could potentially tip it. So I want to make sure that it's at least in line with the sides, but hanging over your rectangle, just not over the perch, is going to be ideal. Now that 2-inch scrap section of PVC pipe will go into that, and then the toy hanger that we worked so hard to build is going to go on there as well. And as you guys can see, this comes together so incredibly quickly. It's almost ridiculous. You can see as we move it to different angles that that toy hanger is going to be hanging in a way that your bird can interact with it, but it is not going to be obscuring any of the space that your bird has on top of that perch. One of the most problematic things you can run into with toys, we all get excited about putting up toys. We put up so many toys that there's then no room for the bird. So this takes care of that as well. Now I'm going to take some of this vet wrap. It is a self-adhesive bandage that doesn't use any glue, nothing sticky. It just sticks to itself. I am going to go ahead and attach that to the perch to give it a little more texture. Now, if you want to give your bird's feet a little more variety, there's a couple of things you can do. You can begin to encompass those fittings as well. They're going to be a little bit thicker in diameter, so you can work through that. You can attach more vet wrap to a certain portion to give you an added thickness. I'm going to take my scissors and cut it. I usually try to make sure that the cut ends up on the bottom side of the perch. That way my bird can't pick at it and play with it. I'm going to go ahead and secure that in place and then just run my hands down it and squeeze it, since this does stick to itself. And that's it. All right, and it really is just that simple. This is certainly something that you guys could build in an afternoon. The good news is, since it maximizes a 5-foot length of PVC pipe, since it gives you the exact number of fittings, you guys can purchase just what you need to build this with no leftovers, no waste. So I think a lot of people, especially when they're first starting out, that is really, really beneficial. So I certainly hope you guys have enjoyed this tutorial. If you like this video, make sure you like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because I am putting out new content to help you guys take care of your pets and your exotic animals every single week. You certainly don't want to miss out on that. And I look forward to seeing you guys next time.
I do need to say thank you to my Patreon patrons for helping to make these videos possible. You can find out more by visiting Hi Red Bird on Patreon or clicking the link in the description section down below if you would like more information. Thanks!